What happens when an ordinary day turns into an unforgettable moment? For one high school janitor, a simple act of kindness from an unexpected source transformed his life forever. Before we dive deeper into this heartwarming story, comment below where you're watching from today. The sun had barely risen over Oxbridge Academy when Ronald James parked his battered sedan in the far corner of the staff parking lot, the same spot he always chose. The peeling paint, dented bumper, and faint rattle of the engine were daily reminders of the sacrifices he made to provide for his family. With a deep sigh, Ronald grabbed his thermos, patted the dashboard, and stepped out into the cool morning air. Ronald had worked as the school's janitor for over a decade, a quiet, reliable presence who kept the halls spotless and the classrooms tidy. To the students, he was Mr. James, the man who always had a kind word, a warm smile, and an uncanny ability to fix anything that broke. What they didn't see were the struggles he faced outside those school walls, the long hours, the mounting bills, and the old car that seemed more duct tape than metal. But one student had noticed. Barron Trump. Barron wasn't like most of his classmates. While others debated the latest trends or boasted about family vacations, Barron often found himself observing the world around him, and lately his focus had been on Mr. James. It started with small observations. The way Ronald arrived before sunrise, thermos in hand, navigating the hallways with his trusty cleaning cart. How he quietly replaced a broken locker hinge before anyone complained, but how he stayed late to make sure the gym floor was spotless before a big game. But the moment that truly stuck with Barron happened one afternoon as he waited for his ride. Across the parking lot, Mr. James stood hunched over the hood of his car, sleeves rolled up, hands smeared with grease. Smoke rose faintly from the engine as Ronald worked tirelessly, sweat glistening under the Florida sun. When the car finally sputtered to life, Ronald wiped his forehead with a rag, muttered something under his breath, and climbed into the driver's seat. That image lingered in Barron's mind. How could a man who gave so much to others be left struggling with something as basic as reliable transportation? The next day, Barron approached Mr. James near the lockers. "Hey, Mr. James," Barron said hesitantly. "Need a hand?" Ronald looked up, surprised. "Well, hello there, young man. I think I've got it, but I appreciate the offer." Barron lingered, watching as Ronald tightened a loose hinge. "Do you ever get tired of fixing things?" he asked. Ronald chuckled, his laughter deep and genuine. "Oh, sure, but someone's got to do it, and there's something satisfying about making things work again." That conversation sparked something in Barron, a determination to do more than just observe. He went home that night and shared the story with his parents. "Mr. James works harder than anyone at school," Barron explained, pushing his food around his plate. "And his car barely runs. I want to help him. Get a new one." His father raised an eyebrow. "That's a generous idea, son. But do you have a plan?" Barron nodded, his resolve firm. "I'll figure it out. He deserves it." The next day, Barron quietly shared his idea with a few trusted classmates. "You know Mr. James, right? The janitor?" he began during lunch. "Of course," one friend replied. "He's awesome. Why?" "His car's falling apart," Barron said. "I want to get him a new one. If everyone chips in, students, teachers, staff, we can make it happen." Word spread like wildfire. Teachers slipped him cash, students emptied piggy banks, and the school counsellor reached out to parents. Even the local car dealership got involved, offering a significant discount on a brand new red Jeep SUV. By Friday morning, everything was set. The SUV sat hidden behind the gym, freshly washed and gleaming under the sun. A giant banner reading, "Thank you, Mr. James," hung across the stage in the auditorium. As students filed into the assembly, the energy was electric. Ronald, unaware of what was about to unfold, slipped quietly into the back row. The headmaster stepped forward. "Today," he began, We're here to celebrate someone who makes this school better every single day. Someone who asks for nothing yet gives everything. Mr. James, this one's for you." Ronald blinked, confused, as all eyes turned toward him. Before he could react, Barron walked onto the stage, note cards trembling slightly in his hands. "Mr. James," Barron began, voice steady despite the emotion in his eyes. "You're more than our janitor. You're the heart of this school. You show up every day, fix what's broken, and make sure we all have a clean, safe place to learn. But you deserve more than just thank you. You deserve to know how much you mean to us." He gestured toward the side doors, which swung open to reveal the shining red SUV. Ronald's jaw dropped. The auditorium erupted in cheers and applause, but he sat frozen, struggling to process what he was seeing. "Mr. James," Barron continued, stepping off the stage and extending the keys, "this is for you, from all of us." Tears welled in Ronald's eyes as he stumbled to his feet, legs trembling. The crowd parted, students clapping him on the back as he made his way to the stage. I don't know what to say," Ronald stammered, voice thick with emotion. "You didn't have to do this. I just do my job." Barron smiled, placing the keys in his hand. "You've done so much more than just a job, Mr. James. You've shown us what kindness, dedication, and resilience look like. This is the least we could do." The room erupted into another wave of applause as Ronald embraced Barron, tears streaming down his face. For years he'd worked quietly, believing his efforts went unnoticed, but today proved otherwise. Later, as Ronald sat behind the wheel of his new SUV, his children climbed into the back seat, laughing and exploring every feature. "It even smells new," his daughter exclaimed, running her hand along the upholstery. Ronald smiled, heart swelling with gratitude. "It is new," he thought. "And so is this chapter of my life." If this story moved you, share it with someone who believes in the power of community and kindness. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more stories that remind us why the smallest acts of compassion can lead to life-changing moments.